Sometime when the 2020s, two geeks from social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell, bringing you a weekly live show, toy, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions, reveals, releases, thoughts, maybe dreams. Now prepare for the Geek Week in Review.
Oh, Geek Week in Review, episode 114 with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. For anyone that's new to the show, welcome, hello. Social media handles are all down there underneath in the bottom corner. Ryan's is still there because we're going to leave it a little bit as a bit of a tribute to him. But then, yeah, go give us a follow and all the rest of it. If you are a regular to the show, welcome back. Thanks very much for tuning in. Got an exciting show ahead of us tonight. Sorrel in his new room.
Yeah!
In the new
Finally,
room.
in the new den.
How is it? How are you finding it?
Fun. It took me ages to get it all sorted and populated, but yeah, we're good. Yeah. We're back on track.
If you haven't already, go check out SuperSorrell's channel. He's done a little tour. It's very cool. Very, very cool indeed. I'm excited because I'm going to get a new toy room soon as well. So, snap. Let's have a quick chat to those in the comments. Stug138, how you doing? Andy H, nice to see you. Shelley, good to see you. Who else we got there? Andrew Orr, good to see you as well. Do jump in on the chat, drop your comments, drop your thoughts, your feelings, and all those kind of things in it. The big conversation tonight is Andy H telling Sorrell that you need to sort out your lighting because you've got a big white forehead. So listen, it's teething problems. He's in a new room. It's in a new room. But yeah, the big conversation today is going to be AHSOKA. We are going to talk about episode 1 and 2 of AHSOKA that debuted on Disney Plus this week. So we'll do a little bit of toy news and all the rest of it, and then we'll talk AHSOKA. If you are watching us on a replay, I know a lot of you do. Hello, welcome.
Can I just say that in the last room I had 0 light and nobody complained, but the moment I put too much light,
that's it. It's just like the heavens have opened and SuperSorrell is illuminated. Yeah, it's you want to go over the top now. You just want to get loads of lights, like make yourself translucent. Yeah. What's been going on your side of the world, Sorrell? Anything exciting this week?
Other than moving into the room, not a lot been going on. But yeah, it's been a crazy few days. I've got slowly been populating everything. I've got a proper room tour on the channel and stuff, but I've been populating all the shelving and putting all the good stuff up. And I finally got a place to put my comic books. I'm so happy. Comics.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
Big ass shelf full of comic books. So I'm a happy boy, and I've got a bed in here. So if my missus gets upset with me, I can just dive in there now. Yay!
That's it. You're taking toy rooms to the next level, SuperSorrell. All right.
Basically, I decided that I'm just going to live like a teenager again. So I've got all my toys, and I've just got a bed in here, and I'm just going to sleep in it from now on.
Living the dream. Living the dream. You got your PlayStation or your Xbox wired up.
I've got my Xbox wired up. I've got the computer wired up. It is, yeah.
You just need a couple of pizza boxes now, and you're good. Good to go. That is cool though. Yeah. I'm really excited. What's that?
Sorry, and how are you doing this week? You good? You good?
Me? Yeah, I'm all right. It's same old, really. Yeah, I haven't actually done much this week. I got a few cool 3D prints. I sent you pictures, didn't I?
Oh yeah, they look cool.
Yeah, a friend of mine printed them out for me. But yeah, it's all good. Hold up 2 seconds. My wife just texted me and asked if I fed the dog, and I did. I did feed the dog. She's not watching, so I'm gonna have to text back. He did a couple of cool 3D prints for me, which is really cool. Like busts. About this big, about 10 inches high. I got one of Deadpool and one of like a Spider-Man head. So I started painting them today. So that's about it. That is about it. Joby One, good to see you. Masked Figure Collector, hello, how you doing? What should we do? What should we tell people about the kind of some of the new things that are coming with the new show, new style show?
Yeah, I
Go on,
think
Em.
so.
You kick it off. I got to text the wife back because otherwise she's going to come out. She's threatening to come out. I was like, "Come on, Mrs. Jacobs Toys, come join the show." Yeah.
Yes, so
Annie H just said, "Tell the missus to link the show and tell her." I was like, "I'm surprised she's not jumped in the comments and like ask him, but I'm going to text her back." But yeah, you start us off, Sorrel.
So we had a few ideas for the show. Obviously, Ryan has sort of gone to the wayside for a little while, and we wanted to try and include you guys a lot more as well. So I think we've sort of discussed it before about doing a call-in show, if you will, where if anyone wants to basically jump in with us and join the conversation, you can do, and we can basically send you a link and we can pull you into the live stream. You don't need to have a webcam if you haven't got a webcam, whatever. You can do it from your phone. It's so easy to do. You just follow a link. It takes you to a website, and you just off you go. But if you want to just voice chat or whatever with us, that's cool as well. But yeah, it'd be cool just to hear from you guys like live and joining the conversation with us. I think that'd be a really cool show idea to do maybe once a month or something.
Yeah. We'll do a request dial-in show. Just because it would be good to have a couple of you guys on, just because the thing with comments as well is that sometimes they are a bit behind, depending on when and how you're watching the show. So if you ever want to jump in, we'll kind of announce at the beginning of the show when we're doing a call-in show, and then we can put the link in the chat and take it from there. I mean, who knows? Might even just try it tonight. See how the mood takes us. Another cool thing as well, we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do a monthly giveaway. We're going to make sure that we're giving something away once a month. So yeah, me and Sorrel were fortunate enough to work with a handful of different products. What's the word I'm looking for? Brand. That's it. I was like the product creating people. So we do. We work with a handful of different brands. We're very fortunate. We get sent quite a bit of stuff. So we are going to pass that on to you guys as viewers, and just do like a end of the month giveaway. So technically, this would be the giveaway show, but we'll do it next month. However, we have got this one still. This is still going to go out. We're gonna give away this throne room. So that'll probably be the first giveaway that we do. But it'll be a weekly thing. Another thing as well is guests. We've got a handful of guests lined up. I know kind of back in the day, we used to get quite a few guests on, and we're starting to line up some more guests as well. So people from different places, different social media platforms, which is quite exciting.
And I mean, guys, I would love to know who would you like to see on the channel as well? Who would you like to see me and Jacob interview? And the best thing you can do to help us with this is by using Twitter, Facebook, whatever you've got social media-wise, and use the hashtag Geek Week and let us know your feedback, because we would like to include a segment in the show each week called Feedback, and basically bring up your guys' tweets, messages, whatever, hand-drawn cartoons, whatever it may be, whatever old tat you make for us, we'll show it on screen. And and we'll be very, very grateful for any insight you guys want to provide us, and especially when it comes to like guests, it'd be cool to like hear from you guys who you think we should get on the channel. Because maybe me and Jacob are barking up the wrong tree. Maybe we're talking to David Bradley and trying to get David Bradley to come on the show, and you guys don't even want to hear from David Bradley. So, David Bradley's from Harry Potter and Game of Thrones.
But that is cool. The Geek Week hashtag as well. Start using it. Only because it's a very easy way for us to search for things that, people are tagging us in and stuff like that. There are a few people that are quite good in actually like tagging us. But if you use the hashtag Geek Week, really, really simple, just Geek Week, hashtag Geek Week. We can search that every week and pull those things up and share them on screen. Whether they're things that you've seen on the internet, that you want us to
talk about on the show and stuff like that. Yeah, if you tag us in it using Geek Week, we'll see everything that you guys are sort of putting. Yeah.
Shelley's just said David Bradley would be cool. We're on him, Dave. We're on him, Shelley. Right, we're chasing that one.
He's from York. He's from like down the road from me, and that man will not return my calls. Damn it!
He can just come live come into your man cave and just do it live.
That sounds a lot weirder than I wanted to. He can just come in my man cave.
Yes.
No.
No. We don't. No coming into the man cave. Right. Let's kick it off. Let's start off with where should we go first? Let's do toy news. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's go down action figure and toy news. Let's see what we got. What are we talking about this week? Not been a huge amount, has there?
No, but McFarlane did announce something pretty awesome this week. I can't lie, and it wasn't Batman for once. Where's my present button? And it wasn't Batman for once. Oh my god! But they did announce these bad boys. So you know the page punchers, the 3 3/4 inch things they've been doing.
Yeah.
Stranger Things 3 3/4 inch with a comic book.
Very cool.
So 2 have been announced so far. We've got Mike and 11, and then Will and the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
But the fact that it includes the comic books, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. These are some of my favorite Stranger Things figures. I'm not going to lie. They look quite cool. I liked the ones we had before. What were they?
They were McFarlane as well. Yeah, McFarlane have done most of the figures so far for Stranger Things. But they were 7-inch.
7-inch, weren't they? About 7 inches. And they were cool. But the problem with those bigger ones is that the articulation on them was had a lot to be desired. You know, they weren't as articulated as some of the other figures we had out there.
Yeah.
However, the Demogorgon that came out right at the beginning was a really awesome figure, and that became very sought after very quickly. But I like these. They look. I think it's because the show's based in like the 80s. This kind of reminds me of those kind of 80s size toys. Do you know what I mean? It just kind of works.
But do you not wish to have gone for later appearances and then maybe worked back to these? Because this is kind of the same merch we've had for years now. The Demogorgon, Will in that costume, 11. How many 11s are we going to get in that pink dress? So I mean, I would have much preferred maybe Eddie, because Eddie sells quite well. I mean, and Eddie would have sold well. You know what I mean? Like even a Never-Ending Story with what's it called? I can't remember his name. Dustin. Like a Never-Ending Story, Dustin or something. That would have been fun with his little walkie-talkie and stuff.
Yeah. On the subject of Stranger Things, I did a plug on my channel, but Google Stranger Sings, as in SINGS. They're doing a UK tour at the moment. I think they're just leaving London. I saw it about a year ago in London, and then I recently went and saw it at the beginning of the tour. It's a really mad, fun-packed, like musical parody of Stranger Things. And if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you'll love it. It's just so bonkers. Like there's one bit where the Winona Ryder character, I can never remember her name, but Will's mum has this song about some kind of mental breakdown, and all of these other Winona Ryder characters come into it, like Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice. Like it's mad, but it's so fun. Like it is just so much fun. The guys are so talented. Go and watch it. Just Google Stranger Things. I guarantee it will be touring near you at some point. They're touring all over the country. But yeah. Anyway, back to the toys.
The next thing that kind of caught my attention this week was, again, it was still on the McFarlane fan page, but it was the Joker interrogation set.
Yeah,
so basically, cool. you get a full-on diorama, you get the handcuffs and everything. They did include the pencil, though. I don't know, that isn't a bit of pencil, is it? That's earlier in the film. Never mind.
That's it.
That's a lot earlier in the film.
Yeah, I feel like they're milking the Dark Knight a little bit.
They were bound to. It's the most famous one of the trilogy. Everyone loves this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a cool setup. It is a cool setup, and if you're a Batman fan, if you're a Dark Knight fan, then you're going to want this. But yeah,
I think we always knew when they made that Heath Ledger mold, it was going to get abused to death.
Yeah.
Literally. So.
But this is one that I would potentially pick up just because of the additional kind of chairs and table and stuff like that. It's really difficult to find a good kind of 1/12 scale chair and table.
Yeah, and to be fair, the fact that I've not bought a Dark Knight Joker yet, that could be the one that I go for, to be fair, because you can do that famous scene with him at the table, which is kind of cool. But either way, that is a decent beaten up Heath Ledger Joker, which is how he looks for the majority of the film. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's a decent looking figure.
Yeah. I don't get the additional hands. Like I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a lot of different. Yeah, he didn't really do much. They do other than clap.
No. Have we got clapping hands? Is that what the top ones are?
I'm hoping so. Yeah.
And even those handcuffs though are quite a good little prop.
Yeah, definitely.
What is that? A phone next to him as well?
Either a phone or some form of device for him to talk into, isn't it? So some form of, I can't see what that rail's meant to be. Yeah, probably a phone.
Stug saying that he wants a Joker. They want the Joker in the nurse dress. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that one, to be perfectly honest with you. Just I quite like the obscure ones. I think the nurse Joker would be a cool one to have.
Definitely. And this wasn't all of the McFarlane news this week. Sadly, there was a little bit more. So give me a second to get the photo up. But it was the Target Geek Out Fall exclusives this month, which is like a big thing in America. They do the show off all the merch that's basically coming out over the next few months, and you can pre-order it with Target and stuff. We don't have Target in the UK, so it'll just be with our usual online fan sites. But here is the image for you to peruse. I have to really sort this camera angle out because I can't see my screen. There we go. So we're getting a lot of the Batman animated series stuff. We've got a Scarecrow coming, Robin, Batman, and then we've Mr. Freeze as well. But then we've got a really cool, weird, like Two-Faced Joker and the Bat Cycle, and there's some cool stuff there.
The two Dark Knight figures there, like the Two-Face, that's not in keeping, is it? Is that? It looks like a Joker Two-Face.
It is a Joker Two-Face. I don't understand either.
No, that doesn't make much sense. And what is the guy at the end?
The guy at the end. Let me just get the. Let me scroll on. I'll have to find it. This one is called. It's from the Gold label, and this is a part of a collect and build Bane set, and it is just known as Scarecrow. Why so serious, Scarecrow? From the Gold label, it's just a redesign. It's just like a crossover, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is meant to be Scarecrow. So
they're just making Joker. They're making like Marvel Legends are doing all the Venomized characters. These are doing the Joker. Hang on that.
Yeah.
Andy's actually just said exactly the same thing. It's Two-Face and Scarecrow Jokerized. So that's quite a cool crossover concept, though. To be fair.
Yeah, so it looks like you get a few more pieces for the Joker. For the Build-A-Figure Bane. Yeah. Because it gives you more bath pieces for Bane, basically.
That's cool.
We've already had the Bane bath, haven't we? So I think these must be like additional bits, maybe.
Okay. The animated Scarecrow looks quite good.
Yeah, the new boxes as well that have. Let me show you this. Let me share this screen. Because they're changing up the boxes slightly, which might upset some collectors that like Universal kind of looks to the collections.
Joby one with a free Zayed, carbonized, venomized Joker Zayed. I can't even say it. Joker Zayed. Jokerized.
So they're giving us a Batman animated series boxes. Yeah, so they are going to give us some animated series boxes, which I do kind of like the look of. It is in keeping with that old red card that we got from Mattel, was it? Back in the day?
No, it wasn't Mattel.
No, not Mattel. Who did those ones?
I can't remember.
Oh, DC Direct. My God.
That's it.
Yeah, so we are getting some other things. And this is a collector build as well. And it's going to be the Condiment King.
See, I'm not surprised that they've gone for him because he was in Lego Batman. And he was one of them characters that kind of like fit in Lego Batman because he was kind of a joke. But it's not a figure that I think would sell if they made it on its own. But I think that it will do quite well as a Build-A-Figure.
But it does seem cool. Sorry, go on.
It's not called Build-A-Figure, is it, for McFarlane? It's like create a character or collect and build. There you go.
But this does seem like they're giving us characters that we were meant to get at the end of the sort of life cycle of DC Direct. This is the Scarecrow that was coming. And I know McFarlane did follow through with it, but this is them kind of then re-releasing it as well. Because it is under that DC Direct brand in the top left corner. They are keeping that branding. So they are giving us the different versions that we were promised years ago. So I think that's pretty cool of them to do that, because they could just wipe the plate and start again. But these
Cool.
figures will come with so many accessories, just like the original figures.
Yeah.
So I do
think
like
that
that.
the build on these ones are better as well. Like the problem with those original ones is they were so fiddly that they came in ridiculous stands. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
Whereas these look a little bit better. Oh, he's got a bit of cell
Cell
shading on
shading,
him.
yeah, that's nice, is that?
Andy H has said that McFarlane are releasing loads of figures that are called or fall under the Joker's Eye. I can't say it properly.
Jokerized.
Jokerized series. So that's quite cool.
It's a weird looking fig, that though, isn't it?
It is weird. And can we give some love to Sinestro as well? So yeah, it's quite a cool Sinestro figure. Jacob's Eye. I can't say that. Jacob Eyes.
People are just picking on you at this point, mate. I'm going to be honest.
I know. Just see how many words you can put in the chat that I can't say. It's not fair that I'm slightly dyslexic. So, so there we go. I must admit, McFarlane are definitely pulling the stops out. I mean, their prices have gone up a little bit as well. I was reading, but they are giving us a truckload. That was truck with a TR accessories. So, you know, it's kind of swings and roundabouts. They're definitely a good contender. Before we move on, and we're still on McFarlane, did you pick up a Blue Beetle figure yet?
No.
Okay, I've got a couple in my basket.
I did pick up McFarlane though this week, but we'll get on. I'll show you that in a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, we got the 5 points of articulation Mezco Toys TMNT box set, which is coming out. So this deluxe box set is bursting with turtle power and features all 4 turtles, as well as interchangeable heads, hands, arms, legs, heads, signature weapons, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's weird because it's obviously 4 of the same sculpt figures. So it's pretty weird. I don't know why they've got alternate head sculpts, but no, yeah.
They're based on the original like Eastman and Laird like comic, aren't they?
Definitely.
Like where they're all wearing the same bandana. But yeah, it's a weird one as an action figure because you are essentially just buying a multi-pack of the same figure.
But it is right in what it's right for what it is for the license. But you know, you just look at it and go, it's so easily done, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's so like we'll make 1 mold, make 4 of them, sell them in a 4-pack.
Makes sense.
I get it, but yeah, it's one of the things that
I did have a turtle setup at one point, but yeah, I sold them on. I do need to pick up some new turtles. I was very tempted. Well, I was very tempted by the new turtles. I don't know whether I'm going to get shot by that or not, but they're quite enticing. I kind of want an adult action figure version of these new turtles.
Well, the thing is, very, very soon, Playmates are going to be giving us a boatload of new versions of classic Turtles as well. Yes, I'm holding out for those to see what those are like, because obviously we got a load of re-release stuff, but they are going to be giving us like a boatload of new stuff as well, apparently. So I'm holding out to see what they come out with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely given it a breath of kind of life, hasn't it, for newer collectors and newer fans and stuff. So. Makes sense. Here comes the merchandise.
Definitely. And that was kind of it, really, for this week. There was nothing else that really stood out to me as like amazing news or anything like that. So that was kind of it.
I know Diamond Select released a bunch of different busts and statues and stuff, but there wasn't anything.
Yeah, there was nothing that kind of made me go, "Oh, I'm going to buy that." I'm going to be honest.
No, actually, I got a Lord of the Rings delivery. Did I tell you that last week?
I think you told that last week. But what was it? What did you get?
It was Legolas. I can't say anything. In my head, it's just not making sense. Who else was in it? One of the Hobbits. I can't remember which one. I want to say Sam.
Samwise is just coming out, so it's probably not him. Was it Frodo?
No, it wasn't Frodo.
Merry or Pippin then.
Maybe it wasn't a Hobbit at all. I'm gonna have to double check. But it was oh, I thought it was Sam.
Sam would have been out.
I'm gonna look now. Hang on.
Yeah.
You have to look. It's over here. I've got it put away. No, it wasn't a Hobbit. It was Gimli.
Gimli.
But look, he comes with the head, Sauron head.
Nice.
It's very cool.
It's such a expensive bath figure to build. That thing sells online for silly money.
Oh, I know.
Nobody ever built them, but it's such a cool figure.
I'm on a mission now to build it.
Well, you've got as well, because we got the special golem from Diamond Select. We've got all the additional hands, bows, knives, daggers.
Yeah,
Gimli's extra throwing axes. We've got them all.
I might have one of them to give away as well.
Woo.
Maybe. So
McFarlane this week I picked up, which is so random, but I saw them in B&M and I couldn't not get them.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen these.
You've seen these, yeah. So the Dark Tide by Warhammer.
Yep.
They kind of fit into my wheelhouse with them being a bit undead and a bit chaosy.
Yeah, man, they're cool figures.
They kind of fit with my my kind of dark world now. And I got this one and I got this guy.
Nice.
So
I think they sell them in Smiths as well.
Yeah, Smiths wanted $19.99 for this, whereas B&M wanted $7. So, and then they had this guy as well. So
that's cool. I'm gonna have to.
They had the big. Apparently in Castleford, the one near me, they've got the big guy as well for $20 rather than $35, which is on Amazon. So I
did see, because they had quite a few of them Warhammer figures, and there was like some. I mean, I'm not up on my characters, but it was this big kind of multi-armed thing.
Oh, Tyrannid.
Something like that. Yeah, I was tempted to pick that up and try to customize a man spider. Because that's a figure that we haven't had. We're still desperately waiting on a man spider. And I thought with the recent kind of animated kind of angle that Marvel Legends were going on, that we would have got that character, but we haven't.
Well, I always loved the big orcs that they gave us in the mech suits, because when you put those with the little ones that I got from
Joy Toy,
they look really cool. It looks like he's their leader, and then they've got loads of little goblins around him.
Everyone is just eyes in the comments here. Yeah. Just eyes in. But yeah, there we go. Before we go on to the kind of spotlight, have you been watching anything? Is there anything massive that you've been watching? Is there anything that you've gone to cinema to see, or you're picking up on telly? Apart from the obvious.
I've not been to the cinema now since I saw that last horror film that were a load of poo.
I saw Blue Beetle. Any good? Yeah, totally spoiler free. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Did you ever watch the old did you ever watch The Guyver?
MacGyver?
No, The Guyver.
Oh,
the old manga.
No.
Right, here's my recommended viewing. Okay, there are 2 films that came out quite a long time ago, and the first one is called Mutronics, right? And it stars a certain Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill's in it, and basically it's a adaptation of a manga cartoon called The Guyver, Guyver. And essentially it's like adult Power Rangers. So you have the bad guys that kind of turn into monsters, like a werewolf, but they turn into monsters. And then you have this kind of bio booster armor, it's called, that he turns into this character, and he's got big blades that come out of his elbow. It's awesome. And then they did a sequel called The Guyver. But it didn't star Mark Hamill. And The Guyver is a better film, but you need to kind of watch the first one to understand it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you have seen that, Blue Beetle very much reminded me of that, in the way that the scarab kind of goes into him and it gives him this whole kind of suit. But yeah, I mean, it's a really strong cast. The story is your typical kind of origin story, but it's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth watching.
So a lot of people were obviously on about the fact that this is meant to be the first step into the new DCEU.
Yeah.
But it was already pre-made before he took over, wasn't it? He didn't. The new, I forgot his name.
James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn didn't really have much in the way of dealing with this one, did he? He didn't really deal anything with it.
No, this one was very much in production at the time, but it was a lot of fun. It definitely felt like a breath of fresh air to have like a new character, new kind of angles, new elements to the universe, and they do reference, various different characters. Like they talk about, Batman and stuff. Just while we're talking about what we're watching, John Hood, how you doing? I started watching From, which I think SuperSorrell recommended. No, he didn't. I recommended it.
Jacob, yeah.
I'm not the horror guy, but I recommended it. But it is a really cool supernatural horror series. What episode are you up to, John? And have you started watching it, Sorrel?
No.
Come on, man, get with it. Get with the program.
I have been far too busy collecting Lacona cards.
Just get on it, mate. It's well up your street.
I have been too busy with my Disney. And if anyone wants to learn how to play the game, by the way, here's a little QR code. If my camera will focus enough, there's a little QR code for you. And I'm already halfway there to getting all my Beauty and the Beast cards. So I'm a happy little boy.
Wow.
Yeah, I got Belle. We got Beast.
Nice.
We got Beast Magic Mirror. And no one fights like Gaston, takes cheap shots like Gaston. No one cheats playing cards like Gaston.
Andy H, have you started watching it, Sorrel? No. That ends that conversation. There we go. John is up to episode 4. Awesome, mate. You have got a lot of exciting things ahead. Shelley has watched both seasons and has just left us with they better make a third season. I was really pleased that there was a second series to watch because the first season ends on a massive kind of what? Come on, it doesn't end like the end of a season. But it's really cool. It's right up your street, Sorrel. Like you would love it, mate. It's very much. I can't even spoil it. But yeah, it's very much up your street.
People said this to me when that Stephen King thing came out, and now all the characters are in the same universe, and I just found that so boring.
Dark Tower.
Yeah, no, it's not Dark Tower, but it was the one where they're all set in the same town, isn't it? And basically Cujo's there, and The Shining's happening, and all this, everything's all happening at once on this little town. It was a bit weird, but yeah, I didn't like that one.
No, watch From. From reminded me very much of kind of 80s horror films. There's like an 80s horror film vibe to it. But yeah, either way. Let's go on to this week's spotlight.
So very quickly, I was going to say that I've been getting back into my comics this week. I went back to the comic book store, in a big way, and I started reading some DC because they've got a bbig crossover thing going on right now called Night Terrors. Have you heard about it?
No.
So basically, all of the DC universe have been basically put into like a sleep stasis, and they're all having nightmares. And basically, the comic books is living out their nightmares.
Okay.
So, like for the Joker, he's got a day job, and he's not the Joker anymore. He's just a random call center worker doing a 9 to 5. And the whole comic book is his day at work, and it's so weird. And like Poison Ivy is in love with Harley Quinn, and they've got a lovely little home life, but then it all like falls apart and things like that. So it's like their worst fears. And it's such a cool comic book series to pick up and read. It's so cool. Like obviously Batman, he's a bit of a weird one. So obviously he's obviously had his worst things ever happen to him, but they make him even darker and weirder. So it's such a cool story. Definitely pick it up. I'm
really gutted because I sold near enough all of my comic book collection. Like completely sold it off. Mainly because of storage. I was really paranoid about it all getting damaged. And it was around the time that I was moving house, and I was like, you know what? I don't want it to get damaged. I'd rather it went on to something else. So I kept like a long box of key issues and stuff. But I sold off the most of it because we had that Marvel Unlimited app come out.
Yeah.
I paid for my subscription, and I was like, this is brilliant. I've got access to every single comic book. But supposedly it's like finishing. I was like, oh, well, that sucks because I've sold all my comics. So, yeah. But no, I need to pick up a new comic. Anyone's got any recommendations, let us know because I am chomping at the
Give
bit to pick up.
give me a shout, man. I literally go to the comic book store weekly, and you know what? They started doing some reprints of key issues, and you can now get like Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight comic books in the classic style, and
That's
like
cool.
Tomb of Dracula in the classic style.
Mate.
These are all reprints of the originals. I don't care the reprints. I just love the fact that I'm able to have these in my collection now without paying thousands of pounds, like the first issue with the Wendigo.
Yeah.
So there's some classic monster issues going on right now. But
that's really cool.
Even if you jump into, there's a company called Zenoscope, and they've got some good ones like the Keys of Cthulhu. That's a good one. But everyone laughs at me for this, but my favorite comic books on the planet are the Archie horror series, and you can get some Stranger Science, which is basically like Weird Science. It's like a rip-off of Weird Science.
Wow! But
instead of making a random girl, they make a clone of Josie from Josie and the Pussycats. see, all the Archie comics years ago were very cheesy. Nowadays, they've turned them all horror. So, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch is like a lot darker than you could ever imagine. And there's so many really cool ones. Like the whole town is built on some like fault line that causes the undead to rise and stuff like that. There's some really random comics.
Oh wow,
So,
that is cool.
I'm a big
comic fan. Problem is that in my town the comic book shop shut down. So the only comics I can get, when I used to be able to go in and just browse, I would end up picking up all sorts of random stuff based on like how the cover jumped out to me. But now it's a case of having to go on and download, and that's go on and order. So it is really difficult. I need a good comic outlet.
Yeah, see, I go to Wakefield Comics 616, and basically I've got a good relationship with the guy. Basically, I just send him a pull list every week, and they get longer and longer every month.
Yeah, that's cool though. I do like the fact that they're reprinting a lot of the old comic books as well. It's just cool to be able to have them.
So I'm not sure if you know about it, but basically there's a website called leagueofcomicgeeks.com, and they have basically the solicitations every single week of what comics are coming out this week, and they've got the cover art and basically the entire synopsis and what and it says like what issues you need to have read to understand this comic and to follow it. So you can never. It helps you like if you get lost, like which issues to pick up to understand it. So it's a really good website. I use it every week to find what I want to read.
All right, cool. I'll have to jump on and have a look. Let's get on to the spotlight. We've got a little while to talk about this, but I think we're going to be talking about it for a while. So we're getting back into this every week, every show. We are going to do a spotlight of the week, and we are going to make that the focus of the show. It's going to be the majority of the show. And this week, of course, it is going to be AHSOKA. I was pleasantly surprised by this.
I know there's a lot of hate on the internet, and I don't know why. I thought it was very, very good.
No, I don't know why. Before we jump in, just a very, very quick one. Let's shout out some people. Attention Seeking Geek, good to see you. Saying, loving the show, lads. Keep up the good work. Much appreciated. Thanks very much, Attention Seeking Geek. We've also got John Hood in there as well. Ash Harrington. Ash Harrison. Man, my dyslexia is kicking me off today, isn't it? Harrison, I do apologize, Ash. Ellen Studio Clips. Hello. Nice to see you. So here we go. AHSOKA. Joby One saying Ray Stevenson scene stealing performance so far. John Hood, Dave Filoni brings back classic Star Wars in AHSOKA, and I'm here for it. I think that's a good reference. It felt very classic.
Definitely, from that moment it started, when you got that great scene, of them walking through the starship, just killing fools. It gave you that classic Vader feel without it being Vader. Yeah,
definitely. Right, so obviously we're going to talk AHSOKA. We're going to talk spoilers for those 2 episodes, but it has been out half a week now, so if you haven't seen it, we do apologize. And just to be clear, we're going to talk rumors and theories. So anything we discuss from here on out that you've not already seen on screen is total speculation. There's no kind of spoilers in that aspect. So we're not ones to kind of look up leaks and, all that kind of stuff. So anything we talk about is all speculation.
Or it's all information that's readily available from...
It's there. Yeah. So let's start at the beginning of it. That opening scene, like you say, was very classic Star Wars. I like the fact that they kind of played off the pretending to be Jedis thing to start with, and I like the fact that they've got the kind of the master and apprentice thing going on. Yep. We've not seen that for a while, really, have we?
True, there always are.
But we haven't seen it for a while, have we? Really?
Nope, not really. Not since obviously the time of Revenge of the Sith, really. To be honest,
no.
That was the last sort of master and apprentice you had.
Like I love the Star Wars universe. I love everything that is there, and I love the fact that we have such an expanded universe now as well. But one thing for me that was always really key to Star Wars was that master and apprentice kind of balance that we had, and the kind of good and bad Jedi and Sith, like, you know. And I know that people kind of say, oh, there's more to Star Wars than just the Jedi and the Force and stuff, but let's be honest, that's the core of what Star Wars is. That's where it came from, and I think that they've really tapped into that with this one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We were saying earlier, didn't we, that it really felt like a continuation of Rebels.
Yeah, they definitely gave us that Rebels feel straight away. When obviously when we first see Sabine, she's in Ezra's tower. She's still living there. That's where Ezra lived in the series, where it all started. She's still there.
Yep.
And the fact that they even got people like David Tennant back to do the voice of the robot and stuff.
Yeah.
That to me was very cool. To see for someone as big as David Tennant to come back just through that voice was awesome.
Yeah, I think he probably would have been quite pleased to do it. I think
definitely.
You know, so many people give their voice to Star Wars in different franchises and different platforms and stuff like that. So I suppose creating a character or being partial to creating a character and having the opportunity to kind of revisit that character and bring it back must be quite a cool thing for an actor.
And his character is going to be key in this series, because obviously we know that Ray Stevenson's character is harkening back to the times of the Clone Wars, and obviously the David Tennant robot thing was a helper in the old Jedi temples. He knows all the sabers that were created. He used to help look after the younglings. So he's a valuable knowledge source going forward for this series, just to kind of remind people of stuff. Like when he scanned the sabers from the two Dark Jedis and was able to point straight away that he was originally a Jedi and give us that whole backstory. I thought that was a very clever way of working in the character into the universe, making him feel like he's always been there with only knowing him for 10 seconds on screen. That was a very clever way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Andy H has said, to me, it felt more like a mash of Clone Wars, Rebels, and A New Hope. I totally agree. That's a really good combination there. Joby1 said here that he thinks Thrawn will have to be revealed closer to the end of the series. And that obviously, I'm not going to try to even say their names because I will say them wrong, because I'm having one of those episodes.
Barrett, Balin, and the girl.
That's it. But they're going to be the kind of the big bads of the series. I kind of agree. Shelley's just here, just wanting a Lothcat. That's fine. That's actually cool. I think most of us wanted one of those after seeing them in that episode. I like the fact that they've got the mural there as well, and it's pretty much exactly how it looked in Rebels. It made it very I can't think of the word, but it felt like one and the same, because they had that mural and the characters were drawn in that style, but with the live action characters, it made it feel like, you know, when you watch a film and then like 30 years later they make a sequel and you know they've shot in, you know, different levels and different cameras and all that kind of stuff, but they kind of work together. That's how it felt. It was like, okay, so here's the live action character looking at something that the animated character also looked at. Does that make sense? Am I being clear?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And that made a lot of that made it very easy for me to watch, because I must admit, going into it, JB1's just showing me up there and just saying it very easily. Brought it all together. that's what I was trying to say. That's basically what I was trying to say. But yeah, going into it, I was really concerned that it wouldn't gel for me, and I wouldn't like it because it wasn't animated. If that makes sense. I loved Rebels. I thought Rebels was fantastic. So yeah, let's talk about the characters. Let's talk about the characters. Who's your standout?
Standout.
Who's your favourite character so far in them 2 episodes?
So far, probably Balin Skull. I think he's like I say, he's a really cool character. They've kind of worked him in. Doesn't feel like he's been forced in either, which is hard to do in Star Wars. Normally, when they start messing around with the backstory, trying to get people to shoehorn in, it feels like he's been there all along. He doesn't feel forced at all. The character feels natural fit.
Well, I was actually double checking because I was like, has this character been referenced before? Because I couldn't work out whether I'd seen or heard of this character because it did feel very natural, like you said.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's ever been referenced before. He's never been listed as one of the Jedi's that survived Order 66.
No,
he's just kind of just turned up now. But I like the fact that they've worked that in to kind of give us that backstory that he was a Jedi, and they've not said he's fallen to the dark side either. They're very much avoiding the term Sith. They're trying to work him in as something new, something different. Because he's not 100% dark, evil, bad guy, is he? He's not throttling people every left, right, and center, and he's quite controlled like a Jedi would be. But obviously, he's just working for the wrong side, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just get to the comments a little bit here because I'm going to lose them. Andy's saying there that Morgan being one of the last remaining Night Sisters made me do a double take when we found out. That was a cool callback. That was cool. I like the fact that we were referencing Night Sisters as well.
Oh, definitely. My favorite thing though was seeing Clancy Brown and him not shouting, "Put that hand on that wall." That was.
I quite liked his character as well.
Well, yeah, he's from Rebels, isn't he? He's in Rebels, just voiced by a different person, I believe, in Rebels. I don't think he voiced him in Rebels, but he was there all along.
Yeah.
So was the other senator that they referenced. He was voiced by Dallin Brasco or something. He was in it as well. Because I was looking up, like, all them characters were all in Rebels.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of cool. So it's like they've not made up new people. They're all characters that were in Rebels.
No. Shelley said, shame that it's tainted with the passing of Ray Stevenson, but it's looking to be an awesome series. Totally agree. She does later go on to say that tainted is the wrong word. Saddened is what I mean.
Yeah.
But I do agree. Annie H jumped in as well. I do agree. It is very sad, but it's, I mean, what an amazing kind of final performance. Like, it is scene stealing stuff. And he's been in lots. I mean, obviously he was Punisher. He was one of the Warriors 3. Like, I'm just talking Marvel here. But yeah, JB1 saying that Balin is kind of Dooku-esque. I kind of get that. Yeah, I do kind of get that. Yeah. I'm just catching up on more here. Andy is saying that he was voiced by Clancy.
Oh, was it? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up on things here. So one thing that I couldn't get my head around, obviously Balin is meant to be from back in the day. He was a Jedi, which we are assuming has turned bad, but I mean, he's obviously kind of gone to the dark side a little bit. He's got a red lightsaber. That's a dead giveaway. But where? No, but you know, if we're talking back to George Lucas, is like the good guys use blue and green, and the bad guys use red. But the girl, what's her name? His apprentice.
Let me get the names.
But where is she from? Where has he got her from? That's what I don't quite get.
So Ivana is playing Shin Hati, Balin's apprentice, who's a dark Jedi. But we don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know where she's come from yet. I'm looking forward to seeing her character develop even more. Her character, by the way, may I just say, is the one that Dave Filoni has kept the closest to his chest. He's the one that a lot of people, even in Lucasfilm, don't know about. He's keeping her heritage very, very very under wraps. So I think there's going to be some form of link somewhere to someone.
It's
Because
like
why would he keep it so under wraps?
Yeah. But every scene she's in, it's like she's looking as in like, I know something and I want to tell you. Like, it's that kind of like, I need to tell you about my stuff. But yeah, I'm really intrigued about their backstory, and where that's from. What do you think of Ahsoka as the character?
Oh, I love her. I love her to bits. I think Rosario Dawson does an amazing role as an older version of Ahsoka. A lot of people obviously were upset when we got casted, and everyone wanted to see Ashley Eckstein take control of Ahsoka. But I don't think she's the right fit for Ahsoka at this age.
No.
Ashley Eckstein's too little. She's too small. She's scrawny. She's quite little and petite. And Ahsoka at this point is a grown up woman. She's not, she's not the petite little girl we know from the original Clone Wars. So I think she's a perfect fit for her. And I like her cold and calculated kind of like acting with it.
Yeah.
She's not the same Ahsoka we once knew. She's quite battle hardened and she's been through some shit now. Yeah.
Like if you watch these first 2 episodes, like the amount of kind of walking around she does and kind of arms in cloth and stuff, like she's very calm. Apart from the fight scenes, she's very kind of calm and slowed down and stuff. And like you say, she's very much a mature Ahsoka now, which is quite cool to see. When you actually go back to the beginning of the Clone Wars, where you're first introduced to her, like you've really seen this character like grow up. Probably more so than any of the other Star Wars characters, because she was like the main character in so much of it, wasn't she? So we've seen so much of her story. I'm just really pleased that they're doing it justice. Really, really pleased. The fight scenes, though, let's talk about the fight scenes. Like,
they are great.
They really are cool. There was elements of the Phantom Menace for me. You know, that kind of first lightsaber fight with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
How much people popped for that particular duel, or more of a battle, isn't it? There's 3 of them. But it felt very much like that. The fight scenes felt like fight scenes as opposed to just people throwing swords around.
Did you get some of the movements that Sabine did and why she lost? Did you get that?
Go on.
So she's been trained by 2 different Jedi who have 2 very different fighting styles. And she's also been trained by Ahsoka. She's confused and conflicted as to which style to use. That's why she shuffled her stance around so much. There's one scene where she goes like this, which is Ezra. Yeah. Then she went like this, which is the old Obi-Wan Kenobi, Kanan kind of old school Jedi. Yeah. And then she went for the Ahsoka where she put the saber down and tried to charge. That's Ahsoka's stance. There were 3 different stances that she used, 3 different fighting styles, and she couldn't work out how to string them together yet. Yeah. So this was her like losing the fight basically. But that again, that girl that we wrote about, the Dark Jedi lady, she could very easily have dispatched her and didn't. Again, I don't know why didn't she just kill her? She stabbed her through the chest, but she only mortally wounded. She didn't kill her. She could have killed her. She didn't.
No.
Why?
Taking her head off the snake.
Why?
Yeah.
It would have been so easy.
So who do you think who do you think she is? Let's talk about that Dark Jedi, the girl. Who do you think she is? Why do you think that her lineage has been kept so close?
I'm not 100% yet. I'm still keeping this pretty much. I don't know. I think it's a hard one. I think she's personally a clone. I think she's something to do with why, because you got to think at this point in time, they're trying to clone the Emperor. They're trying to raid the First Order. We're moving into the sequel trilogy. So you got to think in the Mandalorian, they're after Grogu. Why did they need Grogu? They needed Jedis. Why did they need Jedis to do something with the cloning process? That's all we know. Yeah. So I think she's something to do with that cloning thing. I think she could be the DNA of Balin. They made him a daughter basically. I think they basically took his DNA and made him a daughter.
Okay. That would be cool.
But whose female DNA did they use? I think that's going to be the big clincher at the end of who she could be. And I wonder if they've tied her in somewhere to someone from the Old Republic or something, or tried to tie her in somewhere by using some old DNA.
I'm gonna go right out there. What if they used Anakin's DNA?
Something like that could be awesome to tie her in somewhere like that. But maybe not. It could be very much out there, and she's literally just some random girl they've picked up off the streets, so we don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's definitely something, because Dave Filoni is keeping her very much under wraps. He's not talking about her in any interviews.
No.
I think there's
Andy
something
H
there
said
story-wise.
JB1 called the daughter angle. He did say it earlier on, I think.
Did.
Yeah, I wondered whether there was going to be kind of something to do with Anakin, only because we've got AHSOKA. Obviously, this is AHSOKA's show, and what more kind of closer to AHSOKA can you get than Anakin? So to have like a female clone of Anakin going up against them could be a real big thing. But then it's kind of, where does she go? Like, you know, if they kill her off, then it's kind of like a big meh. And if they don't, then obviously is she going to go on to something big or whatever? But I think the clone angle is definitely a good shout. I think she's definitely a clone. What do you think of Sabine?
I like Sabine's portrayal. I think she's brilliant. A lot of people hated her portrayal, but I've got a feeling as to why they're using her. So it's played by I'm going to ruin this name, but it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she is obviously the wife of Ewan McGregor. Now she's French. She's French, right?
Okay.
So, if you remember in Rebels and in Clone Wars, when the Twi'lek people speak to each other, they have a French accent. Do you remember when Hera spoke to her father, her voice changed? And she spoke with that French accent. I'm wondering whether they've used this actress because she's natural French speaking. I wonder whether they're going to use her to then, she's doing the American accent now, where she'll slip into her own natural French dialect to do the Twi'lek stuff. And that's why they've chosen her to play it.
That'd be cool.
A lot of people are just jumping on the fact that it's Ewan McGregor's wife, and they just let her have it because it's Ewan McGregor's wife.
You know what? I did not even know that. That is really bad. I did not realize that she was his wife.
Yeah, she's his wife. Because a lot of people are jumping on the fact of basically saying they've just let his wife have a character, and I think there's definitely more to it than that, because she's French speaking and stuff like that, and obviously the Twi'lek people are French dialects when they're speaking Clone Wars. I think that's going to have a big part to play later on.
If they're just going to give people's other halves and people's spouses characters, they're not going to give you a main character. You're going to be
And let's not forget, Rebels, we had Thrawn and Hera have a very weird connection and relationship. Thrawn loves the Twi'lek people, their idols. He loved that thing that she had, you know, the thing that gets passed down, the little weird statue-y thing that's goes up across like that. Basically, he stole that from her, didn't he? And she went to such lengths to get it back. Yeah. They have a weird connection, so I think that's going to play into it as well.
I really liked her portrayal. I didn't really have much to complain about. I really liked it. The one that I was a little bit dubious about was Ezra, because obviously we see him in the projection, don't we? But
yeah,
I don't know. He didn't look like Ezra to me.
No, a lot of I was watching it with my dad at the time, and he was like, "That can't be Ezra because he looks far too old to be Ezra." Yeah. Ezra was a kid when he left.
Yeah, he looked really tall as well, and I was just like, "Okay, it's just a hologram, it's just a projection. Like, don't think too much into it." But yeah, it's I don't know.
So, are you ready for me to drop a?
Go on in.
Ezra's dead. I don't think you'll see Ezra in this program. I think you'll only ever see him through hologram and from past links. I think Ezra's dead. Wow. Everyone wants him to be the Inquisitor. Everybody wants him to be in this program because obviously it's Ezra. Everyone's been dying for this moment. I think he's dead. I don't think he's alive.
That could be such a massive mic drop.
The length they go to try and save this kid, to see if he's still alive, and then for Thrawn to be able to go, "I killed him." decades ago.
Yeah.
I killed him the day we left. I snapped the little kid's neck. He was a kid. Just imagine that evilness that Thrawn could bring to it. If he was just a kid, I killed him.
He didn't even survive the jump. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, no, that would be very cool. I'm still going down the enemy mine storyline. I still think that Thrawn and Ezra are going to be
weird allies.
Yeah, there's going to become some kind of weird ally element to them where they've had to get along to survive. But how long have they been gone? What's the actual time scale we're talking about?
So, let me work it out right quick. Keep talking.
Because obviously for us, it's been years since Rebels finished, but that's not the same time scale that we're looking at in Clone Wars, in Ahsoka.
It's been roughly 10 to 11 years since the disappearance of Ezra, and 5 to 6 years since the epilogue of Rebels.
Okay.
So it's been around 10 years since Ezra disappeared.
Okay. Yeah, so they could definitely go down the ally route like that they've had to. Because if they both got stranded, because they're obviously stranded somewhere where they've not got the ability to get back. And Thrawn being Thrawn, if there was any way of making contact, he had people, didn't he? Like Ezra, it would be a lot more difficult because essentially he had his little band of rebels. So it'd be much more difficult for him to call out and get in touch with them. But Thrawn surely would know people that knew people that knew people that knew stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like you would think that you'd be connected enough.
But we don't know where they went. This is the great thing. We don't know where they've been. They just punched some numbers in and hit go. All that Ezra wanted was to take Thrawn away so he couldn't be recaptured by the Empire and used. But that's happened anyway. Something went wrong somewhere. I think there's going to be a great story to have uncovered there. But we don't know where he ended up. All we know is they went into unknown space.
Yeah.
Unknown space could be anywhere beyond the outer rim, basically, because that is as far as the track was the outer rim, wasn't it? So it's anywhere past the outer rim.
What if they actually didn't go that far? They literally went around the corner. It was like, we're still here, guys. So let's talk about a couple of things here. Joby1 said, I don't think he's dead, but it would track with him basically trying to make a similar sacrifice to Kanan.
This is the thing, right? If you bring him back, his sacrifice to then do this is null and void, and it makes his ending in Rebels so much weaker because now we're going to continue the story. Whereas if we had it where he stopped Thrawn from being recaptured and then he gets killed, he can still die a hero. If we have him fall to the dark side, I think that cheapens Ezra's character even more because he's gone through so much. His master's dead. You know what I mean? He's had such a cool storyline. He has that ending where he sacrificed himself, but to then have him just fall to the dark side for shits and giggles doesn't sit well with me.
What about... see, Joby1 said, but Thrawn coming back is that as well. Like, they're bringing Thrawn back.
From a singing, okay, yeah. I know she had some form of connection to French stuff, and she can speak French, can't she? She's fluent French.
There you go. So I love that Annie H is the man in the chair, the other man in the chair. So just before we get on to big theory rumor,
remember what Kanan said about Sabine? Do you remember the episode in Rebels where he's talking to Hera on the intercom thing, and Ezra's training her, and he's watching them from above, and he basically says because she's Mandalorian, it makes her hard to train because she's not opening herself up to the Force. He basically says everyone has the ability to accept the Force, but only certain people are open to it, and because she's Mandalorian, it's harder to train her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's going to have a big part as to why Ahsoka didn't train her.
Yeah, but obviously she is going to take her on again because we had the whole, suiting up and everything. That's going to be cool. That is going to be cool. Just quickly, Andy H just confirming that he is Chat GDP. GDP. What is it? Chat GPT.
GPT.
Andy H is the Geek Week's version of Chat GDP. GPT.
Yes, and he is GDPR. He's law.
So, I'm not share his image with consent. All right, let's talk about Marek. Let's do it. Andy H. 10 years is long enough for Ezra to grow up into a Marek. Before we go down that angle of that kind of element of the rumor, Thrawn would be quite old then. If we've had 10 years, that 10 years is going to kind of add things to him. Is he still going to be as big and powerful as he was when we last saw him?
Yeah, I reckon Thrawn was meant to be maybe late 30s, early 40s, and now he's going to be late 40s, early 50s. I don't think he's going to have aged that much. Plus, he's an alien species. We don't know how his age even matters in the grand scheme of things.
10 years could be a kid.
Blip to him.
Really, isn't it? So let's talk Marek. So for anyone that's not down with the names and stuff, the Inquisitor character that we saw at the end of episode 2 is labeled up as Marek. However, we didn't see their face and we didn't hear their voice. So there are lots of rumors circulating the interwebs saying that that's Ezra, that Ezra is in fact now an Inquisitor. It has been confirmed that they're the last of the Inquisitors, this person. So this is kind of the last Inquisitor. Do you believe this rumor? Is this one that you're kind of hoping is true?
It needs to come to an end because the Inquisitors don't exist in the new Mandalorian timeline, so they need to be gone.
So he's definitely the last Inquisitor, but I meant more about it being Ezra being the last Inquisitor. Do you think that's
I think it's a cool concept, but I hope it's not. When we were talking prior to coming on tonight, and obviously you told me about the name Merrick, then pennies drop, and obviously we know that it was a guy playing him in person, but we've not had a voice put on there yet. And like you pointed out, it could be Sam Witwer and it could be Galen Merrick. It could be a play on the name for Merrick, for Galen Merrick, for the original Inquisitor, if you will. Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, which I'm sure a lot of people did, in the credits of episode 2, you've got Sam Witwer. His name is there in the credits. Bizarre, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's down under additional voices. There we go. We see it. So it is there. He recently did an interview though, like this week, saying that he didn't work on it, that he didn't work on AHSOKA. So that would imply that they've used audio from somewhere else. However, if we had Starkiller in there, or at least a clone of Starkiller, it would all kind of line up, wouldn't it? And it's a character that isn't technically canon. Yeah, it could be. It could also be. I mean, we would all love it to be Starkiller because everyone's been wanting Starkiller to be put back into canon for a long time and somehow bring him back in. What if he's just credited because later in this series he might be Darth Maul's voice or something later on? Yeah, but he wasn't credited in episode 1.
He was credited in episode 2.
And I'm just wondering,
weird, isn't it?
If he had voiced the character for episode 2 and then they removed the audio, they would still technically credit him because he worked on that episode. I'm just thinking that the title of this show is AHSOKA. She was famously Anakin's Padawan. That's what the story of The Force Awakens was, wasn't it? It was that secret apprentice that Darth Vader had. So to bring in this non-canon and making Starkiller canon into the title show of Anakin's apprentice, it's almost like the light and the dark apprentice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then they're gonna go off against each other. I think that it could. There you go. Look, JB1 just said exactly the same thing. Vader's apprentice versus Anakin's apprentice, and this is where my head started going because we're thinking about Thrawn. we know that this, you pointed out earlier, I think it was before we came on show, but this is the last episode before they make the movie, don't they?
Mhm. Yep, so
This is
far
the last
announced.
kind of that we know of. So
Yeah.
they may announce more down the line. But my theory rumor kind of works with that anyway. So if this is the last one before the movie, then Thrawn coming in at the end of this show as the bad guy for that movie, the big bad for that movie, would make sense, wouldn't it? Like you've got Thrawn, think of it very much like Endgame. Thrawn is your Thanos, and then you bring all the characters together for the big Avengers lineup, the big Star Wars Avengers lineup. But if you brought in Starkiller as that final Inquisitor, you make him canon. Ahsoka eventually kind of beats him or whatever, and then the kind of good overthrows the evil. But they make him canon without having to write this whole kind of story for him forward. If that makes sense. And it would just be a massive fan payoff, wouldn't it? Let's be perfectly honest with you. Everyone would just be so pleased. And Hasbro have started bringing out the Starkiller toys recently as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they are.
Like kind of re-releasing those. So I don't know. I mean, it might be that he just voiced something random in the episode and we didn't pick up on it. But I think the fact that he did an interview this week and said that he didn't work on the show says to me that he's doing a bit of a Andrew Garfield and trying to say like, no, I didn't. And then when the payoff comes and he did, he kind of goes, oh yeah, I was just lying because I wanted it to be a big payoff. Yeah, that's my thinking. I think that it's either Starkiller or a clone of Starkiller.
Yeah. There's so much to it's so much to break up in there. One thing for me that I noticed in the episode was the ship name that the witch makes is called the Eye of Sion.
Okay.
There is a Sith Lord from back in the Great Sith War, which she would have been around to see, which would have been Darth Sion, the Lord of Pain. So I wonder if that's going to be brought back into canon at some point. He was obviously around the time of Darth Revan and Darth Malak, and obviously we've now got Malak as in the Inquisitor Malak, and he happens to be on board with these characters. So, and their headquarters was on Malachor. So I mean, that's where she's from. It all ties together nicely for me. That,
yeah,
and I think that like she wants to like bring back the sort of Sith Empire.
Yeah, which would be cool to see. I just the rumor about Ezra being an Inquisitor, it's just too obvious for me. I just don't think it would get the payoff that fans would want. And Dave Filoni is not. He's not one for writing things that are foreseeable, is he? He likes to.
A lot of people were. A lot of people in the comments are obviously saying about like how cool would it be to see an eventual Vader's apprentice versus Anakin's apprentice, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But how much cooler would it be if it did end up being Starkiller and that's Vader's apprentice? What if everyone's expecting Ahsoka to jump in against him and fight him? What if she's like say calm, collected, hands in the sleeves, and Sabine, you want to take this one? And Sabine takes it, and it's Ahsoka's apprentice versus Anakin's apprentice.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
That's what I mean. So it's them two fighting without having to fight. You know what I mean? It's like that whole who's the better teacher.
Yeah. I think the thing I'm really enjoying about it at the moment is that I can't quite figure out.
Going.
Yeah, there isn't a storyline that you're clicked onto. Do you know what I mean? There's so much going on with the Dark Jedis. There's obviously the Sabine and Ahsoka apprentice, master apprentice kind of relationship going on. There's the Thrawn stuff. There's the Ezra stuff. There's obviously now this Inquisitor. But this Inquisitor is definitely going to be key. There's no two ways about that because we don't know who it is. There is zero reason for them to not show a face or a voice unless the person under that mask is of some sort of significance. So
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's somebody under that mask, and they're keeping it a secret for us for the time being. Whoever that ends up being, that's quite cool.
yeah.
But let's not forget, Luke Skywalker is still alive at this point. Luke Skywalker is alive and kicking and building the new Jedi Order.
Yeah, actually.
There's a lot that you've got to think. There's a lot still happening. Luke in the background is currently training the new batch of younglings, or is starting to. He'll be slowly beginning to, like, we'll see Han Solo and Leia fall apart. She'll then send her son to be trained by Luke. Then they have the whole fallout of him trying to kill him, like fearing his own nephew's power.
Yeah.
That whole section is coming up very friggin' soon.
Yeah.
And I think that's got to have something to do with it down the line. That's all got to tie in somewhere.
Yeah. And they can't release anything that is going to spill out for too long because of it being so close to that part of the story.
Yep.
And one thing that they are quite good with, and Dave Filoni is quite good with at the moment, is that there aren't that many sort of bleeds, as in it should end here, it's bleeding in a little bit. Like, they're very good at consistency in that timeline. So whatever it is that's taking place now has to wrap up, because otherwise we would have seen elements of it, unless there's another series coming. So just working on the idea that is Starkiller. If they don't announce anything at D23, it would be a nice roundup and he can finish this series. Oh, excuse me. If there is more to it, there's nothing saying that we're not going to get a series spin-off on him, or do you know what I mean? There's so they could basically announce any kind of show for any character that doesn't bleed into the main storyline.
Yeah. So as well, if you followed the books and stuff, Thrawn isn't a Sith sympathizer. He's not into the Sith. He's not a guy that likes the Sith.
No.
Whereas, what's he called? Grand Moff Tarkin. Moff Tarkin?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm referring to it? And no, not Moff Tarkin. Not Moff Tarkin. Oh, guy from Breaking Bad.
Moff Gideon.
Gideon obviously is slowly building up to maybe potentially be the person that could be bringing back the Emperor. He's definitely a part of something there, because he wants Grogu for something, and I'm assuming that's all to do with the cloning thing and that side of things. I'm wondering how cool would it be to see, because we've got to see the fall of the Empire to the rise of the New Order. That has to happen, and I'm wondering whether the big ending is the good guys don't even have to do that much, because basically they're going to fight amongst themselves, because they're all basically fighting amongst themselves to be the new leader. What if it comes down to, it's literally Gideon versus Thrawn?
That would be quite cool.
Because it's an angle that nobody's mentioning and talking about. The Empire is fighting amongst itself. They've got that Shadow Council going on, and they're all just backstabbing one another, trying to bring back the Empire. And I'm wondering whether Gideon's going to be the one that basically makes the New Order, and Thrawn's not in the New Order.
No. And you do make a good point about the fighting and the... Yeah, that would be quite good. And it has got to be... you make another good point in regards to the Empire has to fall. We are running out of time now. There has to be a fall. And it's not like they're going to just run out of steam. Like, there needs to be a big thing.
Andy, man. Hello.
I'm just putting this up just because that's just mad. That sounds like a chat GPT answer. The biggest thing for me was that interview with Sam, was that him making such a big point out of not working on it. That to me was the biggest clue. What Mark Warble coming in right at the end. Why did you have to move to a new room?
I moved to a new house.
To a whole new house.
It's a whole new home.
Andy H, I have diagrams. We want to see these diagrams. We need to see them. Either way, though, it's a good show. Like that, I think that's that's the general consensus, isn't it? I've not heard that many people moaning about it. I think everyone's enjoying it.
100%, and I think there's a lot more to uncover with it. I think we've just scratched the surface as to where this is going.
Yep.
So I mean, like, everyone's sort of like going on about Sabine and that she's not really a strong Jedi. There is that famous quote from back in Clone Wars of Yoda, "Being a Jedi is not a matter of power." So
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a story to tell here. And let's not forget that whole thing in Rebels with where Ezra basically pulled Ahsoka out of the world between worlds. That has to come back at some point, because that has to be explained. There's a whole weird back world going on there somewhere.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
So there's so much that Dave Filoni is going to want to wrap up here in this program to kind of end his. I think he'll want to end Ahsoka's storyline in this program. I don't see Ahsoka going forward into the movie personally.
Oh, really?
I don't think they'll kill her off, but I don't think she'll go into the movie. I think this will be the ending of the Ahsoka storyline. She'll disappear along with the Skywalker storyline, because she's technically a part of the Skywalker thing. So I see her. Definitely. I see her and the whole Skywalker saga as one thing. So I think her time's coming to an ending, and then she's trained up the next flock. She's trained up Sabine to move forward with the characters going forward in the timeline.
No, that sounds.
She has to go at some point. She's a fan favorite, but she can't live forever.
No.
And it'd be nice to see her go the way Luke did later on. You know what I mean? Like, just to see her kind of set everyone on the right track and then just vanish on a rock. Just have her sit and meditate, and then have that owl fly overhead, and then just vanishes. Just into the cloak, just drops. The owl flies. I call it now. The big white owl flies over at a sunset. The cloak just drops.
That could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Yeah, either way, it's a brilliant show. It is a brilliant show. Next week, we're obviously going to talk about the next episode. I have lost it with the words today. We will talk about Ahsoka episode 3, but we will have a different spotlight of the week. We're going to talk about something different. We're gonna make sure the spotlight of the week is a thing, whether that be a guest, whether that be a talking point, a topic of conversation, event going on, whatever it is. Spotlight of the week is back, and we're going to stick to it. We are going to stick to it.
Yep, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up in the very near future. We've obviously got New York Comic Con, D23, the big Disney event. That's on September 8th through 10th, which will also have the Disney Plus Day, which is on the 8th. So we'll find out all about all the new stuff coming out from Disney.
Yeah.
This year it's being held in Orlando as well for the first time instead of California.
Is it?
So there's going to be some. I reckon there's going to be some Galaxy's Edge announcements there and stuff to talk about.
It's got to be done.
There's got to be a reason why they're in Orlando rather than Cali. So there's going to be some Disney World announcements. But this obviously we'll find out about the next spate of Disney Plus projects. What Disney movies are coming out. I think we'll get a lot of Star Wars news. So stay tuned, guys. I think there's a lot to cover coming up very soon.
Yeah, I totally agree. Shelley just been really kind, saying, Jacob, I think you need to get to bed. I'm all right. I'm good. I'm always up at this time on a Sunday. Actually, John's off to watch From. Me too. I'm actually going to go and watch it as well. So catch up with it. I can't remember what we said our spotlight of the week is going to be next week, but
we haven't decided on it yet, I don't think.
No, I don't think we did we? Keep an eye out on socials, because whatever the link to the show will change to what the spotlight's going to be. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. If you're watching it on replay, again, thank you very much for watching. Do give socials a follow and all of those things. Sorrell, anything you want to finish up with?
I've got to go to bed because I'm getting up at 4 a.m. because I'm going to Comic-Con tomorrow. So have a nice night.
Amazing. So like I said, we'll be back next week, talk about things that haven't happened yet. Sorrell, do you want to take us out?
Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep it geek.